Hey everybody, my name is Will Miller, and in this vlog I'm going to be covering basically the last 2 years of my life and how that's shaped me into the person that I am today. To start with, when I got back here in the fall of 2020, I was basically starting from scratch. My favorite bar hangout was gone, half the restaurants and bars weren't even open yet, I'd lost contact with a lot of people, and I had completely new roommates. Two of whom were raging alcoholics, not the fun kind, the bad kind. And the third one had basically no social skills. So as you can see, it was basically an uphill battle. For months, I was stagnating, nothing was really going on. And then I finally got a break when I got hired by Traditions Promotions to sell tickets for their Haunted Circus event over at Club Sky. After that, I basically was able to get back on my feet. I got back out in the club and bar scene where I'm probably most comfortable, made a lot of new friends, reunited with a lot of old friends, and by New Year's 2021, I was a regular at the Hyde Park Cafe and a few other nightclubs and was on the guest list most of the time. So I was doing pretty good at this point. And it was around this time, maybe a little after the Super Bowl, that I came in contact with a party bus company called U-Limo. They were a small company. They were basically trying to be like Uber for limousines, and they wanted me to handle their nightlife sales as well as doing some promotional things and other stuff. So I interviewed, and I ended up getting the position. First day on the job, they were doing something called a rideshare bus. Basically, it was kind of like an Uber pool, but with a party bus. You pay $10 and you're able to ride on the party bus to a bunch of very just different nightlife destinations. The first night was pretty disorganized, and mostly the people there were people who worked for the company and, just friends of those people. So it wasn't a big business success. But it was that night that I met and became friends with the CEO of the company. In fact, after the after party, I ended up having to let him crash on my couch because his roommate kicked him out. So it was probably about then when we became friends and I began taking over more and more of the operations for that company. Starting with basically being one of the main people running the rideshare party bus, which we ultimately set up to run from 8 to 11, 3 days a week from the UT campus to Tangra and Show Bar in Ybor, who we established deals with. Basically, our customers could skip the line, get 50% off, et cetera, et cetera. And it ended up getting really successful. Pretty much everybody on campus knew who we were. We were good friends at the time, so we were hanging out pretty much all the time. We got in all the clubs for free, Obviously, there were a lot of girls, too, We basically felt like we could do whatever we wanted, and we were like mini celebrities. I remember one time, John, the CEO, his phone got stolen at the club, and we actually tracked it down with a few other guys with a baseball bat, and we actually managed to get the phone back. So yeah, we were living pretty well, It was sold out pretty much every weekend. We even had to get a bigger party bus because we had so many people coming in. It was probably making about, I want to say like $2 to $3 grand a week. It was crazy. And I was running 90% of the fucking operations, so you could imagine I was doing pretty good. Then the summer came around, business got kind of slow. So, we really didn't have as much to do. We tried a few different things, whether it was pitching an accelerator, which didn't go so well. Then, trying to set up some of a summer version of the rideshare bus, but since all of our clientele had basically gone home, that was dead in the water too. And we mostly just ended up doing private rides, which were kind of a pain in of themselves because we didn't really own the party buses. We just rented them from a company. So we would pretty much have to coordinate with the subcontractor and the customer and set it up where we'd still somehow make a little money, but still be affordable as per the gimmick of affordable limousines. Also around this time, one of my roommates moved out, so I figured it was a good idea to, let John sublease one of the rooms, considering we were friends at the time, and I figured if anything, it's better than getting another disaster roommate. But all this compounded with the other tensions of, business kind of stagnating, was really just create a lot of unnecessary drama and problems. And the friendship somewhat deteriorated over this time, along with business, to the point where when we went back to relaunch the business in September or August, I believe, it was dwindling. We got about half of the results, and this was the catalyst for the overall falling out where I ended up leaving that organization. After that, I still retained a lot of friends from that time period and made a lot of new ones. I traveled around, had a lot of new experiences, worked a few different jobs, and I was overall having a pretty good time. But I was still kind of missing something to do, something real concrete to do, which is probably why when a basically identical company popped up run by these two British kids, I jumped on the opportunity to take over their operations in exchange for 20% of the profit. And it was going pretty well. We were building up a good profit. Things were, excelling. But the problem was they were kind of absentee owners and they really didn't have any money. And they also barely had any interest in the business itself. So the first opportunity they got, they said basically, oh, we'll sell this to Ulimo, John's company. And I said, if you guys are going to do that, I'm not going to stay on, obviously, because I have my history with that company and I'm not really planning on going back. So now at this point, which this was only a few months ago, I'm now back on my own. I got a few things going on. I have something big that I'm going to be involved with this coming weekend, but overall, I have to say, compared to where I started, I'm extremely happy. Number one, I'm in much better shape than I was. I was very skinny when I got back. Now I've managed to put on a lot of muscle mass. I've also made a lot of new friends. I've made a lot of new connections. I'm still able to maneuver my way around most of the clubs in the city, and pretty much everybody knows who I am. Not to mention I still get plenty of girls too, so pretty happy about that. Overall, I think as much as there were ups and downs in all these experiences, it helped shape my personality and honestly gave me even more confidence that I could be successful in my chosen industry, and overall just made me better as a person. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.